Hey, familia, welcome. Today is day 3 of our 3-day live event series that we are doing all about how to ignite your metabolism at any age. So we are finishing out. So day 1, we'll do a quick recap. Day 1 was all about some of the challenges that you might be experiencing if you are having trouble with your metabolism and experiencing certain things. What could be causing that? So we talked about metabolic syndrome, and we talked about being pre and post menopause and PCOS, inflammation, metabolic syndrome. We talked about all of that. So you can always go back. That's what's great about video. You can always go back and watch any of those videos. Just scroll through my feed on any of the platforms because I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook here, and then Instagram over here. So you can find me anywhere and go ahead and watch these videos. Day 2, we talked about stress. So we talked about good stress, bad stress. We talked about adrenal fatigue. And we talked about menopause and how this is also influencing a lot of that and what you can do about it to kind of help yourself heal naturally. So that was day 2. So go back and watch that one if that interests you. And I don't know why this is doing this. Okay. It's giving me like a tutorial for some reason. And then so today we are going to really talk about or really continue on the stress thing that we were talking about the other day. So we're going to go more into stress, and we're going to talk about the good stress that you can put your body under to really ignite your metabolism at any age. So if this is the first time you're ever catching me live, welcome. My name is Dr. Alex. I'm a holistic practitioner, and I am on a mission to transform healthcare and how it is delivered to you. I create luxury holistic wellness programs for women, and one of them just happens to be my 90-day metabolic makeover. So I decided to do this 3-day series to really kind of use it as an introduction to what my program really is all about. You can get to know me a little bit better. And my program really uses intermittent fasting, or therapeutic fasting as it's called. And this is a good stress that you can put your body under. So we're going to really get into that more because like yesterday we talked about there's good stress and there's bad stress, right? And it's the bad stress, it's the chronic long-term bad stress that really does damage to your body and why you might not be seeing certain changes in your body. But intermittent fasting, therapeutic fasting is a really good option of short-term intermittent stress that you can put your body under that will really activate a lot of genes and a lot of good stuff to happen inside of your body. And that's what we want. We want to change things up. So putting those short periods of stress on your body is a really great way to activate this. So one of the great outcomes or byproducts of intermittent fasting is that you start to use your own body as fuel. And that is what we really want. We don't want to be relying on all these outside sources for energy. We want to turn our body into the energy-making machine. We want to burn fuel faster. And that really is the key to igniting your metabolism, is using your own body for fuel. And I will be so upfront that the majority of Americans, of people, have plenty of fuel on their bodies to be using for energy. Let me tell you. So we want to start flipping our body into using that stored fat for energy. But how do we do this? Well, intermittent fasting, therapeutic fasting, that is the way to go. That is how you get your body to use that fuel for energy. And another great thing that happens with therapeutic fasting or intermittent fasting is that you naturally up your insulin sensitivity. So insulin sensitivity is something that I touched on day 1 because I was talking about metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome affects so many people, but many people have never heard of it. And metabolic syndrome is just kind of an umbrella term for type 2 diabetes, for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, for PCOS, chronic inflammation, chronic fatigue. All of those things fall under that. And those are all metabolic dysfunctions. Those are all related to having a disruption in how your body uses and interprets, receives the hormone insulin. So our bodies are so overrun with processed food, processed carbohydrates, bad foods, that we have just insulin all the time at high levels in our bodies, and our tissues just become numb to it, right? As with all things in life, you get numb to it because you're exposed to it so much. So the trick is, how do we get ourselves to be more sensitive to this important hormone in our body called insulin? How do we get ourselves to become sensitive to this again so we can start to get off of our blood pressure medication? How can we get off of our diabetic medication, our insulin, our pills? How can we transition off of that? Well, we need to become more sensitive to our own bodies, to what it naturally does. So that is another great side effect or thing that happens when you start intermittent fasting. Naturally lowering your blood pressure. I have a whole 5-day challenge about how to lower your blood pressure naturally in just 5 days. And it is so easy. And it does involve intermittent fasting. Doing the things that you need to do during intermittent fasting can, hold on one second. What, honey? I have a visitor at my door. Hold on, Papito. I'm making a video, honey. Chez, give me a few minutes, okay? No, Papi, I'm teaching right now. Like, no, not right now. Wait till mommy's done, okay? Okay, well, just wait a few minutes, okay? Shh, go, close the door. Close the door. I'll be done in a minute. Okay, shh, go. Close the door. I'll be done in a minute. Okay, shh. So, naturally your blood pressure in 5 days is entirely possible. I used to be on 2 blood pressure medications, and I was almost on a 3rd one. I was in heart failure after I had him, after I had my last son. What, baby? With what? No, honey, that's not something you can play with.
No, not the flower.
No.
Nintendo Switch in the middle of the cat.
No, I'll give it to you in a minute because it's not even thinged, okay? I'll give it to you in a minute. Oh, he's so upset because he can't get a video game. So I used to be on 2 blood pressure medications, almost on a 3rd one. I had heart failure. I think my EF, my ejection fraction, was like 20%. It was pretty terrible. I was in really bad shape, and it was such a wake-up call to me. But I decided to make some big, huge changes in my life. And now I'm no longer on any blood pressure medication. I'm constantly sharing photos of my watch with my blood pressure. It's entirely possible to come off of all of that naturally and safely. And using intermittent fasting has been such a huge, huge part of my whole entire change in my health. And I always talk, and if you follow me, I talk a lot about my family and how I grew up and the type of environment, what was normal to me. My entire family was type 2 diabetic, entire family, overweight, type 2 diabetic, high blood pressure, strokes, heart attacks, amputations, all of that. And I knew if I kept going how I was going, that's where I was going to end up. And I did not want that. And I don't want that for any of you. And so many of us in the minority population, I mean, it's taking out entire families. I mean, it's devastating our culture. It's devastating our people. It's bad. We need to do something about it. So that's why I'm out here sharing this information and teaching this, because we can break that cycle, right? We can defy those odds. Like I always say, that does not have to be your future. Don't let it be. Don't let it be. That does not have to be how it is for you. So naturally lowering your blood pressure, getting your kidneys working and functioning and firing up and doing what they're supposed to do. Intermittent fasting helps with all of that. Intermittent fasting is amazing for anti-aging. I'm gonna put it out there. So I'm 40. I just turned 40 this past March. Many people don't think I'm 40, but I am. But I owe it all to the lifestyle that I live, and being happy and living my life with spice and doing all the things that I do. You know, I see so many people that are my age or younger, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But it all is in, how are you treating your body? How are you taking care of yourself? How are you loving yourself? And intermittent fasting is such a great way to show yourself love, to do things that are intentional, to change how your body functions. And the anti-aging part of it is that your body starts to go into autophagy, where it starts to eat itself. It sounds gross and horrifying, but it's actually just using your own body as fuel, like we talked about. It starts to go in there and eat up all the dead cells, the unused cells, so you don't have all of that toxic leftover stuff floating around in your body that just accumulates and causes problems down the line for you. Okay? Chronic inflammation. So going back to that, insulin floating around in your body all the time. People are chronically inflamed all the time internally, and that leads to a lot of problems, a lot of that GI issues, a lot of bowel issues, intestinal issues, digestive issues, skin conditions. We are just chronically inflamed, but that comes from so much of what we're eating and how often we're eating and how much our body is having to work all the time because we're constantly putting food in our face. We need to slow that process down. Let your body do what it wants to do naturally. Let it use itself for fuel, for energy. Let all the hormones work. Let your kidneys work. Let your adrenal glands work how they are supposed to work normally on a normal schedule, not in overdrive 24/7 because of what we're doing. No, using intermittent fasting can help to calm all of that down for you and get rid of a lot of that inflammation for you. Okay? And actually that inflammation is one of the really bad things that comes with type 2 diabetes is all that inflammation, that extra glucose, all the extra fat in your blood cells or in your blood floating around. That is what causes those clots. That's what causes the lack of blood flow, the leg cramps, the toes getting amputated, the infections, wounds not wanting to heal. That's what causes all of that. And that blood pressure, that high blood pressure, that is what is going to lead you down the road to kidney dysfunction, kidney disease, to dialysis. So many dialysis patients are diabetic because the diabetes came first. Then they became kidney patients. That's how it happens. Everything is all connected. I don't want to see you down that road. I don't want to see anybody else that I love, that I know, that I care about going through any of this, because we don't have to. Okay? So again, day 1, we covered the metabolic syndrome and pre and post menopause. We talked about metabolic dysfunctions. Day 2, we talked about stress, good stress, bad stress, chronic stress. We talked about hormones and adrenal glands and all of this. Day 3 today, we talked about intermittent fasting and therapeutic fasting and how it really is the key to igniting your metabolism at any age. This is really one of the key things that you can start doing today to start seeing dramatic changes. Get off of those medications, see significant changes in your body, in your health, in your numbers, getting off of those medications. That is what you want. This is a way to do it. Okay? So if you like this and you want to learn more, you want to work with me, because this is all of what my program is. I have a 90-day metabolic makeover. Simply send me a message. Get on my calendar ASAP, because in all honesty, in all reality, you never know when your last day is going to be. You really don't. And people are just wasting time. Oh, I'm going to get to it. It's going to be too late one of these days by the time you get to it. And I don't even say that lightly at all, because I've seen it. I see it all the time in the hospital, in the ICU, all the time. Don't wait to make such an important decision about your life or your health. It is one thing you cannot waste time with. Okay? So send me a message, get on my calendar ASAP. And I hope you enjoyed this 3-day live series. And I'm always open to feedback. Let me know what you learned, what you want to know more about. What can I change? What can I add? Please let me know. I am happy to do that. And I love teaching in this way. So definitely down for that. All right, guys, I'm going to close out today. Thank you for everybody who watched and stayed tuned for this whole week. I really appreciate it. But I still go live every day, so I'll be back tomorrow with something else. All right, guys, take care. And like I always say, for a balanced life, just add spice. Bye. Thanks, everybody, for watching.